Hey guys, Neil Lockhart Photography. Just wanted to make a follow-up video to the light painting video that I posted a couple weeks ago. Had a couple people request this, and it's so super simple. You're just going to be amazed at how easy it is to composite these kind of shots in Photoshop. So here we are in Adobe Bridge, and I've got my 6 shots that I took. If we take a look at these, you can see just the different portions of the building that each exposure lit. So here we have the one side, we've got the door frame from the window, some interior light, a little bit stronger window light, and then the front. And the other thing that I'm going to mention is when you do this kind of stacking in Photoshop, you absolutely want to make sure that you're on a tripod. If I cycle through these real quick, you can see that my building is rock solid. It's not bumping around or moving up and down. Because if there was any kind of shift in your camera while you were taking these, if you moved the tripod or somehow it got bumped or something like that, the shots aren't going to line up and you're going to get some really strange like ghosting artifacts. So definitely use a tripod. I was really lucky that this night there was no wind, so even the trees aren't even moving. So that was really lucky. So here we go. Let's do this. So what we want to do is we want to take all these files and we want to put them on separate layers in Photoshop. And Bridge and I believe Lightroom will do the same thing. If I just grab all these, I can go up to Tools, Photoshop, load files into Photoshop layers, and it'll launch Photoshop, and then it'll put each one of those separate pictures on a separate layer. So if we just give this a second here, it's going to load all 6 of them. And then the next thing that I like to do, just so that when I'm working I can kind of just know where I'm at, is I just like to name these guys. So I'm going to turn on our first layer, and I'm just going to call this front, because that's pretty much lighting on the front of the building. This one I'm going to call window main, because that's the bigger of the 2 window lights. We'll call this inside. And this next layer, it's kind of just a smaller window light. I'll call it small window. This layer is the door frame. And our final layer is kind of that window on the far side. So I'm just going to call this window far. It doesn't really matter what you call them, just as long as you know what the heck they are. So this is where the magic happens. This is so easy and so cool, you're going to love it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn all these layers back off. I'm going to turn on my first layer, and then I'm going to turn on the layer above it, which is the window main. So what happens when I do that is this layer with the window main blocks out all the light and everything. We're not seeing anything that's below. We're not seeing the front layer at all. But if I come up to window main and I change my blending mode from normal to lighten, then all of a sudden what we're seeing is anything that's lighter on this layer is going to be added to the layer below it. So as I turn this on and off, you can see that all it's changing is just the light from that window. And if we zoom in here and look at this at 100%, you can see that it's perfect. It's not creating any weird masking, any kind of fringing, anything that would give it away as a composite. It looks completely natural. And we didn't have to do anything except change a blending mode. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So let's go back, let's do it for the rest of these layers. So if I turn on my inside, again, we're only going to see the inside because it's still set to normal. But if I come up here and change it to lighten, then that interior light is just going to be added to the rest of it. Now you'll notice the sky is changing a little bit, and that's just because the clouds were moving through. And if there was a lighter section of cloud, then it's going to kind of add that in, but it doesn't really make any difference. It doesn't look unnatural or anything. You can just kind of see up here, it's just changing the sky a little bit. If there were stars, it might be more of a problem because you would have, like dots where the stars were moving through. And if that were the case, I would just mask those out. But for the purpose of this demonstration, we don't have to worry about that because it was cloudy. And let's continue. So small light, the small window light, I'm going to turn that on. And then I'm just going to change that to lighten blend mode. And you can see that that's just adding a little bit of extra dimension to that window light. Let's bring in the door frame. I'm going to change it from normal to lighten. And there we go. Now we have our door frame lit a little better. And this far area over here, this other window, let's just turn that guy on. We'll change the blend mode to lighten. And there you have it. We've got a little more detail in that window now. Another thing that's really cool about this technique is you have the complete control of the level of the light in each one of these layers. So let's say this front light was a little too much, just, you wanted it a little darker and you accidentally got it that bright. You can go to the front of the building, this layer here that's this front light, and you can simply just bring down your opacity and watch how that changes just the front of the building. We still have everything else, but now you can just kind of bring it up wherever you want, wherever you think looks good. Let's bring that all the way back up. Maybe you wanted the interior light a little darker. I can take that, click on the inside layer, go up to opacity, and I can just bring that down to taste wherever you think it feels good. So that's pretty much it, guys. I just wanted to kind of show you how I put that shot together. I really appreciate all the support, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Leave me a like, and if you want to leave a comment, that's great. I really appreciate your feedback and love chatting with you guys about this kind of stuff. I hope this was enjoyable, and we'll see you soon. All right. See you later.